What up, guys? I want to break down today a little bit about my thoughts about dealing with the boyfriend objection, whether that comes up, when you're trying to get the number, when you're trying to invite her out, when you're trying to go for the makeout, any of those sort of kind of things. I just want to deal in general with the big B word of boyfriend, all right, and how you can deal with it strategically, effectively to hopefully change, assuage, improve, otherwise quell her doubts, fears, objections, and hopefully get that girl. So, all right, I'm going to start off with the least situation where it's the least meaningful kind of information, and that is if she tells it to you right when you approach. Okay, on the approach, if she's like, "Hey, I got a boyfriend," right? You shouldn't even think of it as true or false or anything. If anything, the only thing it really means perhaps is that she's not quite sold on you yet, right? She's a little skeptical, so she's throwing out this test, which it could be the conscious, it could be totally unconscious. There's no real way of knowing, but essentially you can take it as she's not 100% sold yet. But that's okay. You really do want girls to kind of test you because it shows that there's someone interested. They're at least considering you, right? Now, whoa, sorry guys. Now, okay, so that's one situation. You're meeting her on the street. She's like, "Hey, I got a boyfriend." What about you're texting her on the phone? You invite her out to a date. She's like, "Hey, I've got a boyfriend. I can't meet with you one-on-one." In this kind of situation, I like to kind of elicit a little bit about that dude, which seems like it might be counterintuitive in some ways, but a way you could do this in Japanese would be like "doko de hikakareta," what were you attracted to from that guy? Or you'd be like, "Oh, sounds like a cool guy, like he must do XYZ." Kind of build him up a little bit and get her to tell you a little bit about why she likes that guy, why she chose that guy. And then she might end up giving you some hints, and she might even end up coming down on the opposite side, right? So what most guys, what the common reaction from guys is "Oh, like, is he probably doesn't do XYZ," or like there's nothing you dislike about him, or they try to elicit things they don't like about him. And that can work, but in general I think it's better to elicit positive things about the dude, identify with the dude, be like, "Oh yeah, it sounds like something I probably wouldn't even message you that much either, like I get it, and then identify with the dude, and then from there it's a lot easier to kind of pivot and get her being like, "Well, no, but he actually sucks because of XYZ." And that's kind of where you want her to be. You want to be yourself on the side of the boyfriend a little bit, lightly, generally, being like, "Ah, no, he seems like a good lad," right, whatever. And for her, you want her to be the one that's pointing out his flaws to you. Now, the key part is you don't want this to be some sort of like emotional support meeting, right? You don't want this to be like air out your problems with your boyfriend to me at length, and I will sit here and listen to you forever, right? No, you want to pull out a thing or two about the dude and say, "Oh, he sounds like a nice guy," and then go back to the invite. Be like, "Well, anyway, I think it's fine. We'll just meet as friends, right?" And really, that should have a better kind of better position than anything initially antagonistic. Like if you start to be like, I've tried a lot of different things. If you start to be like, "Oh, well, hit me up when you break up with your boyfriend," that's okay, right? That's better than nothing. If you start trying to diss on the boyfriend, usually not going to work that well. If you kind of ignore it and sidestep it, sometimes can work, sometimes not. But I have found that trying to elicit these values, elicit a little bit of conversation about the boyfriend, why she likes him, or what he means to her, what attracted to her to him, can at least give you some insight into her psychology, as well as hopefully flip the tables and make her start poking holes in her boyfriend, right? As opposed to him poking holes in her. Hey. Anyway, yeah, okay. So in terms of reactions during escalation, I have a boyfriend. I often just kind of ignore or neglect that, right? But if you do want to tackle it, you can kind of build up this narrative of, does she know right, that it's the right decision. Like, what if you met her before she met her boyfriend, right? Maybe you would be in the other situation. So nothing is for certain in life. Everything is, everybody's trying to do their best, trying to sort things out, trying to decide for themselves what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad, who's good for them, who's bad for them. That sort of thing. You want to try lots of things before settling down and picking one, of course. All these are kind of vibes that you can convey through your messages or through little stories to sort of soften up that boyfriend objection, right? I'm trying to think if I covered all of the kind of major situations I want to do over texting, if they bring up when you're escalating, and just in person, right? I guess I'll go over a few more things about the in-person thing. You can come up with some sort of basic lines to kind of overcome this initial boyfriend reaction. You can be like, oh, it's fine, I'm gay, right? Or, you can even number close girls in front of their boyfriends. I've done this before. If the boyfriend is kind of cool and not too ora, then you can approach or even talk to girls with their boyfriends. Be like, oh, are you guys dating? Oh, cool. Well, I have parties, so let's all get together, let's hang out, you guys can come over and to a party, right? And get both of their contact information. Then later you can just only message the girl. A lot of times she won't even say anything about the boyfriend, but sometimes she might, and you will have to deal with that strategically. Overall, though, I think Japan is a country where women don't take their boyfriends too seriously. And more often than not, if she says she has a boyfriend, it's just an excuse, or it's a way to test you to see how you're going to react. And all you really have to do, as with any sort of shit test, is just not react too much, not overly explain yourself, not crumple down and get emotional or anything like that, right? Just kind of hold your ground, be a little bit light, be a little bit inquisitive, be fun, right? You don't want her in her mind, her to think that you're going to be some sort of combative dude who's like looking up, drawing connections, and gonna call her out on lots of things and hold her to her word, right? Because her word might change. I've had girls who their pants were halfway down, they're like, oh my god, like blah blah blah, sorry. They actually said the name of their boyfriend. They're like, Gomenne Takashi, or whatever, and then we started having sex. I thought that was hilarious. I've also had girls who initially, and I'm going to show you guys the text actually right now. I've had girls initially who were talking about the boyfriend and said they can't meet one-on-one. And eventually, I turned that around. So let me show you real quick, break that down to show you how that went down. See, in a second. All right. So we're gonna go over how to flip this, which is I have a boyfriend, so I can't meet you, essentially. Around to, in the end, this, which is her coming. She's being like, all right, yep, I'll meet you at 6 at this place. I'm heading over there. She got there early, actually. And yeah, so let's go over what was the crucial points to flip that around, right? And it's not going to work with every single girl, as obviously, but something you can try. So, yeah, I'm like, 可愛いからいるってびっくりまではしないかも。Or ないかも. Not surprised, basically. But this is what I really wanted to say. It's like, その彼どこで引っかかれた? Like, what were you attracted to about him, right? And she kind of dodges the question. She's like, I just don't want him going out drinking alone with another girl, I think, right? And I'm like, well, no, but like, why did you like him? He's like, oh, do you know him? 彼氏知ってますか? 知らないよ。だから聞いてる。優しくてかっこいいんです。He's nice and cute, right? どういう優しさ? Alright. And now it goes into just some fluff, basically. Like, this is just like I made Chili the video. If you saw the text webinar, it's the same video from that. Pineapple, whatever. And then I invited her to a party. She didn't end up coming, but she said she came close, like she was nearby, driving with a friend. Almost as if she was asking me to persist for her to come to the party. But by that time at night, I was already having
a lot of fun at that party, so let's just leave it at that for now. Anyway, she went home. But anyway, I invited her for a different day. I can't, because I canceled that. Actually, yeah, it's only because my flight got canceled that I was even there to meet this girl. So here I invited her, and she agreed. Well, when's your school until? So 4th. So we meet, and then we end up meeting. Now, there was a little bit more continuation from that night when I met her. Now, we just had a nice normal date. I don't know, we went to eat some food or something, and then went back to mine and hooked up. And I asked her about it. And she was like, well, yeah, like, I do really like my boyfriend and all that, and I'm probably going to get married, maybe, who knows. But at the same time, like, I didn't feel like I was exploring enough or something, right? That's what you want to instill, is that desire to explore a little bit before settling down with any particular person, right? Now, we just want to go back to this initial response up here. And a lot of guys will kind of either try to dodge it, which is fine. You can be like, oh, I'm gay, so it's fine, we can hang out even without your boyfriend there. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to try to like dig into it or antagonize the boyfriend. It's much better to like kind of agree and put yourself in the same position as him. Be like, oh yeah, like I kind of get what he's saying, right? Even the bad parts, and eventually she'll start complaining. If she'll often start complaining about the bad parts as well. So. That is, so this is kind of the key, eliciting some, you can kind of either, basically there's a bunch of different ways you can deal with this. One, you can slide it, you can just ignore it for the most part and be like, oh, that's fine, like, I'm gay, or it's okay, it's just tea, or whatever. You can try to kind of persist a little bit. You can also try to, just be like, well, when you finish up, then understand, like when you break up, like hit me up or whatever, right? I don't particularly like doing that though. But this is another option, something to try. And it's a good one. Alright guys, let me know what you thought. Peace!